Would the meeting of the Mayor and Council for Monday, November the 5th, 2012 now come to order? It is 7 p.m. Denise, are we on the record?
We are.
Okay, there's a little feedback coming from somewhere. All right, if we could stand for a moment of silence, prayer, and reflection. If we could have Councilman Capola lead us in a salute to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That was the beat.
Does anybody have a portable electronic device that is too close to a microphone?
Everybody.
You please take it and put it somewhere where it's not close to a microphone. All right, the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and attend any meetings of public bodies in which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. The Mayor and Council of the Borough of River Edge have caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place posted in the Borough Hall, and notices were sent to the Record and the Ridgewood News. The mission of this governing body is to provide essential service through the establishment and implementation of public policy, safeguarding our infrastructure, providing honest, courteous, and professional service, establishing a sense of trust and accomplishments with our residents. We do this through research and prudent planning to minimize risk while improving municipal services. We are sensitive to the needs of our taxpayers overall, while realizing that this governing body cannot be all things to all people within the revenue constraints imposed by state mandates, economic condition, and prevailing attitudes about taxation. Again, I said we're on the record, both video and audio. There are microphones set up around the room. There's a camera up on the wall if you want to speak and be heard as well as seen. During the public portion of the meeting, if you wish to make a statement, ask a question, or be heard, all you have to do is come to the microphone if you want to have your image memorialized. There are 3 exits in council chambers, 1 to the front and 2 to the rear over here. If I could have a roll call, Mrs. Clerk.
Councilman Murphy?
Here.
Councilman Ford? Councilman Capola?
Here.
Councilman Jones?
Here.
Councilman Guadalupe?
Here.
Councilman Caballero?
Here.
And Mayor Massarantola?
Present. I received a call from Councilman Courts earlier today apologizing for not being able to attend tonight's meeting. Okay, let's have an approval of the minutes of the Mayor and Council for the work session and regular meeting of October the 15th, 2012.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the Mayor and Council for the work session of October 22nd, 2012?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? All right. Next, I would like to do a consent vote on the closed session minutes. These minutes were already distributed and reviewed by the governing body at the last meeting, right?
Yes.
Okay. They are for the closed session of June 18th, July 2nd, August the 6th, September the 4th, September the 7th, and October the 1st.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? All right, thank you. Tonight we have proclamations. The first proclamation is to declare the week of November 11th to the 17th as New Jersey State Federation of Women's Club Membership Month. And is there someone in the audience to accept the proclamation? All right.
March Garofalo.
Hello.
March Garofalo.
Let me just stand over here. I'll read the proclamation. Whereas the New Jersey State Federation of Women's Clubs of the General Federation of Women's Clubs was organized November 16, 1894, and has continued to exist as one of the largest and oldest non-denominational service organizations of volunteer women in the state of New Jersey, with more than 8,000 members, 226 local clubs. And whereas members of the New Jersey State Federation of Women's Clubs of the General Federation of Women's Clubs have worked in their communities to assist in activities such as founding New Jersey College for Women, that's Douglas College, preserving the Palisades organization, saving the New Jersey Highlands organization, supporting the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, and providing annual funding for such things as the Special Olympics, Operation Smile, CARE, and UNICEF. And whereas the Women's Club of River Edge, a member of the New Jersey State Federation of Women's Clubs, is celebrating 82 years of service to this community through scholarships through our high school, as well as funding for the library, police and fire departments, ambulance corps, Girl and Boy Scouts. And whereas the New Jersey State Federation of Women's Clubs provides organizational structure and has sponsored programming to ensure women in their communities that have excellent resource materials to accomplish their goals through volunteer service. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Sandy Mascaritolo, Mayor of the Borough of River Edge, on behalf of the entire council, do proclaim the week of November 11th to 17th, 2012, New Jersey State Federation of Women's Clubs Membership Week, in recognition of the many hours of service to this community and others. Thank you. And I'm also proud to accept on behalf of the borough a award of merit that was presented to our police chief Caridi, who's not present to accept it. This award of merit is from the AAA of North Jersey. It was presented to the chief at the AAA Community Traffic Safety Awards Program at the Brownstone on October 24th, 2012. And the award is for such things as crash investigations, which we do because we have 2 certified traffic reconstruction experts in our police department. It is for traffic safety programs, for school bus safety programs, and for crossing guard safety programs. So this can be hung in a well-deserved place in Borough Hall. Okay, the next item is on our agenda are appointments and personnel changes, but we have our DPW superintendent with us tonight, and I'd like to call upon him to give us an update of the progress on the aftermath of the hurricane and the restoration efforts that his department has accomplished. John?
Before the storm preparation, purchased 25 yards of sand. We made 1,000 sandbags. We removed the equipment and secured the office, Public Works garage. The building was sandbagged. No water entered the building during the storm. The fuel was topped off on the tanks. Generators were tested. The backup to the backup generator was put at the pump station. 4-inch discharge pumps and hose was also put at the pump station. Basins were cleaned at the yard to help evacuate the water when the water did come into the yard. We also assisted the fire department in making sandbags. A light tower was rented. Portable generator was rented for the police and Borough Hall. The DPW rear fence was removed. After a few storms, we made that fence removable after losing 3 fences. So that fence is now removable with posts. And all recycling bins are empty. That helps with the cleanup after the flooding. We had 11 borough trees on houses, which we needed a crane to remove. We had 3 borough trees on houses, which we needed no crane. We had 10 trees, which required PSE&G to cut the power so we could remove the tree. We had 4 homeowner trees across the road, which we removed to open the road. We had 8 trees that were leaning and uprooting that we removed. 9 trees, borough trees, which were across the sidewalk, driveways, or front lawns. We had 18 borough trees across the roads. We went to 7 trees with hanging limbs, and those limbs are probably 12-inch in diameter or larger. There's still plenty more out there. And we went to 26 large limbs blocking roads during the storm. As far as the equipment, 1 truck, the pivot arm on the body, the lift body, has snapped. That truck is due for replacement 2014. It's estimated between $3,000 and $5,000 for repair. As of today, garbage pickup has begun. Tomorrow, recycling pickup will begin. Leaf pickup began on Friday, November 2nd. Main roads for traffic have been done, polling sites have been done, and the north end has begun, as we always have done. The generator is now off at the Wayne Pump. The generator is still on at the DPW, Borough Hall, Police, as you hear. Is the power on, which I'm asked? It might be, but we cannot. We have to shut that generator off to shut the other generator off to get the power. So it's more involved than just turning a switch. Tom Smith has helped out tremendously with fuel from the county. Bob Costa also has helped out with fuel. Unfortunately, we received 1 injury for 1 employee with sawdust in his eyes, both eyes, scratched corneas. Luckily, he is back to work with some blurry vision. Damage to public property. Memorial Park building has sustained major damage due to a tree that fell onto the building. It is tarped as we speak, but it is structurally damaged. There's 2 head walls on Elm Avenue that were hit by trees, major cracks due to the fallen trees. Stumps, there are dozens of stumps due to the fallen trees, which we have to pull. Also dozens of sidewalk slabs, which I need some confirmation from the council due to borough policy. Sidewalks are generally the homeowner's responsibility. I just need clarity whether that's going to stand or the borough intends to fix those sidewalks. As many thanks, the mayor and council as a whole. Mayor and Kathleen, tremendous. You guys were all over the place and helped me tremendously. Thank you very much, personally. Company One Firehouse for their food, Bob Costa for their fuel. Tom Smith OEM helped with the crane, fuel, and we were on the phone every few hours. Also the residents for their support and understanding. And just as the council as a whole, to understand the department's needs as far as the operating budget, manpower, and equipment. It was brought up, what could I do? Kathleen brought it up. I said, well, what you do is during budget time, when we're asking for a specific piece of equipment or operating budget or something, you know, a proactive approach on that end. So we had a very nice conversation. We've had no other major breakdowns as far as equipment. Lastly, I'm extremely proud of the hard work and devotion the department has shown during this emergency. They worked during the storm, during hurricane winds and rain, and never once complained or never once asked to go somewhere, and you know, their support is amazing, and I couldn't do it without their help. So I really want to thank the men of the department, and you know, working in dangerous conditions and all that they did. You know, publicly, I want to thank them very much. Any questions? I'm open.
Kathleen?
What are we doing to prepare for the new storm?
Well, luckily, we have all our generators still in place. We still have our light tower.
Have you heard any updates, like how bad or severe it's going to be?
I just heard generally what everybody else has heard, 40, 50 mile an hour winds and 2 to 4 inches of rain. I mean, we'll monitor the dam, and you know, take it day by day.
Do you think there's any more trees that look like they're precarious, that a 50-mile wind is going to take it down?
Well, that's one of the things we are looking at, you know, throughout the borough, and again, we'll monitor them day by day.
Anybody else? John, I just want to... Go ahead, Tom.
John, you said that, I believe it was a tree truck. You didn't name it as a tree truck, but the pivot arm was damaged and it was the truck to be replaced, so I assume it's a tree truck. Does that mean it's out of commission?
It's actually a 5-yard dump truck. It's due to replace on 2014 in the capital replacement program.
Okay.
It is a dump truck, though.
So it's not the tree truck, it's a dump truck. Is it out of commission?
As far as dumping is concerned.
Okay.
So it's no longer a dump truck.
Okay, thank you.
Just one other thing. I believe you guys were picking up leaves today.
Yes.
I heard them coming down. Thank you again for that.
As of Friday.
All right, John, I want to just thank you on behalf of the entire borough, because I was out there during some of the worst parts of the storm, and I saw you, you know, I saw the frustration on your face when you had trees down and wires in them and you wanted to cut them, and we couldn't get PSE&G to pay attention to us for a while, but finally we're able to nab somebody to start cutting wires and capping them so that you could I heard you say to the one DPW guy, you cut the wires and I'll be in your back pocket. And you were, and your crew followed them around, and it would maybe take them 45 minutes to cut a wire, and 45 minutes later the tree would be gone, and that's how you worked. You went from tree to tree, and you were not just Napoleon up on the hill, but you had the chainsaw in your hand and you were on the tree like a monkey, climbing around, cutting limbs and cutting the trunks. And what is it with these hand signals? It almost looked like you go to a baseball game and you got the third base guy there giving you signals of when to run and when to steal a base, because you were out there with the chainsaw and you're going like this, and I'm saying, what is the guy doing? Is he speaking Braille in the middle of the storm or what? And all of a sudden, different pieces of equipment start moving, and the bucket comes. Do you give classes on, these hand signals? Is that DPW talk? How does that work? Trying to figure that out.
Well,
You were going like this and like this, and
fortunately,
things were
most of
moving.
us have worked together over 20 years with each other. We have a aging group, let's say. So we pretty much know what we're saying and what we're thinking.
I guess when you got the loud equipment running and the chainsaws and you're wearing the ear protection, I guess you got to communicate like that, right? With these hand signals.
Yeah.
But man, you got to know one wrong push of a button or a control, and there could be a tragedy.
I was not going to say monkey, I was going to say a maestro.
Yeah, conductor of an orchestra.
Conductor, maestro.
Right, exactly.
The way he was using it.
He's a lumberjack. He was when he took down the tree on Continental, I was watching that. I was like, oh my God, that tree had a girth. It looked of 6 feet, and you were just moving around it as if.
Like butter.
And when it landed and slammed into the ground, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe how close he is.
And I didn't know that.
And it was clear you knew where it was going to land, and you had no doubts about what was going to occur. And, you're one of the bravest people I know, and one of the hardest working, and I cannot thank you enough.
And I didn't know that he could use a chainsaw with either hand. He'd be holding on a limb and using it with his left hand, and then he'd be holding on a limb and using it with his right. I couldn't imagine doing that.
Well, now that John's here, I do want to say publicly to thank his team. So I was going to save it for later, but since you're here, I'd like to thank Superintendent John Lynch, Foreman Tom Schick, Foreman Chris Leishman, Scott Ader, who was injured, Bill Camera, Jose Cornelio, Jaro Duarte, George Fink, Frank Gallagher, Jim Lynch, Jason Melito, Ken Morse, Eric Schultz, Rick Stevens, Mike Seznina, Roger Tarpey, and Chris Weissman. So I want to publicly tell him thank you for everything.
All right, so as I did your calculations, John, I came up with about 70 trees that we lost.
Close to it, yeah.
Yeah. All right, the council will, revisit the sidewalk issue, and will either affirm or deal with the borough's policy regarding the sidewalk replacements for the shade trees that uplifted these big slabs that we have laying around town. All right?
Yep. Also, good news is every street is open in town.
Yeah.
Every single street.
You did. When did you do Summit? Yesterday?
Summit was yesterday.
Yesterday?
And the poles were put in today.
Great. Okay. Thanks a lot. Go get some rest.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, we have appointments and personnel changes. Can I have a motion to approve the separation of Anita Gatto, Planning Zoning Assessor Clerk, effective 10/29/2012?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstain? Can I have a motion to approve the resignation of Marissa Hone from the River Edge Volunteer Fire Department, effective immediately?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Can I have a motion to approve the reduction of hours for Anth Ciaphlis, senior bus dispatcher, from 10 hours per week to 5 hours per week, effective October 16th, 2012?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? And a resolution to approve the promotion of Kenneth Morth from Laborer 1 at an annual salary of $44,375 to Tree Trimmer 2, $52,452, retroactive to October 30th, 2012.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Okay. For benefit of the public, the agenda includes correspondence that is available for review in the clerk's office. In addition, there are monthly reports from the Civil Rights Annual Report, the Library Board, the Police Department, and the Beautification Committee for the months of September and/or October. We have certain ordinances that are on for first reading this evening. The first ordinance we have is ordinance number 1771, an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Borough of River Edge, Chapter 206, entitled Fees, for the benefit of the public. This is an ordinance in which we periodically review our fees and evaluate if any of them should be increased or decreased or eliminated. Many of our fees have not been increased for many years. And this particular amendments is the what is the police
Outside duty?
the police outside duty hourly rate, and it includes towing fees, and I think is this the fee for banners too?
Banners, correct.
Banners, okay. All right, so do I have a motion on this for first reading?
So moved.
Second.
And there's a second. Can I have a roll call, Denise?
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilman Papola?
Yes.
Councilman McNown?
Yes.
Councilman Bartoloni?
Yes.
And Councilman Papaleo?
Yes.
All right, this ordinance, having been adopted on first reading, will be published in the newspaper and put on for a public hearing. At the public hearing, we can take any comments or questions before final adoption. Denise, when is the public hearing going to be on this particular ordinance?
It will be November 19th. ma'am.
November 19th. Next, we have ordinance number 1772, an ordinance amending Chapter 416, zoning, residential regulations, Part 8, conditional uses, planned residential development of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of River Edge. This particular ordinance, 1772, amends our zoning code, adding duplex residential buildings on particular blocks of Park Avenue. The lot has been standing vacant for a while, and the particular owner of these properties believe that two-family homes would better suit this particular residential zone and the economy, and that the zoning change would not adversely affect the borough's master plan. After approval of this ordinance, it will be sent to the planning board for their recommendations. Is there a motion to move this ordinance on first reading?
So moved. Second.
Can I have a roll call, Denise?
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilman Papola?
Yes.
Councilman McNown?
Yes.
Councilman Bartoloni?
Yes.
And Councilman Papaleo?
Yes.
All right, again, having been adopted on first reading, this ordinance will be next sent to the planning board for their recommendations. It will then be published, and there will be a public hearing. Will that be the 19th also?
No,
In
in December,
December.
but they have 35 days to get back to us.
Okay.
So we're doing it later in
All right.
December.
So it'll be put on for a second reading and a final hearing in December. And finally, we have ordinance number 1773, an ordinance to amend Chapter 384 trees of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of River Edge. This is an ordinance that the Shade Tree Commission, members of which are present in our audience, have worked with the mayor and council, our borough attorney, to amend for some time now. I think we are finally all on the same page. Can I have a motion to adopt this ordinance on first reading?
So moved. Second.
Can I have a roll call, Denise?
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilman Papola?
Yes.
Councilman McNown?
Yes.
Councilman Bartoloni?
Yes.
And Councilman Papaleo?
Yes.
All right, having been adopted on first reading, this ordinance will be published for a public hearing and final adoption, again, on November the 19th. Thank you, Shade Tree Commission. All right, there are no ordinances on for second reading. There are a series of resolutions numbered 12-372 up to and including 12-389, the payment of bills, which are on the agenda. Would any member of the governing body, we're going to do 12-389 separately through our finance chair. Would any member of the council wish to pull out for separate discussion or consideration any of the other resolutions that are on the agenda? Kathleen.
Just had a question for Alan regarding the payment of bills. A few meetings ago, we had paid the school 2 checks for $579,000, and you were going to get back to me whether it was a duplicate or you paid twice, and now we have it again here. So, what was it the last time?
We have had the practice of splitting some of the checks due to cash flow. In this instance, we have a school tax debt payment which is paid separately of $261,354. So that does get paid separately according to the schedule. But
Did you ever know about the last time when we made the 2 checks for $579,000?
yeah, I believe those were split for cash flow purposes to provide a check at one point and then to give them the second check. They've been working with us to ease our cash flow problems.
And then I had a question here about this Ben Schaefer.
Can you refer to the resolution number, please, so that we
This
can
is the
follow
payment of
along?
bills.
Okay,
She's talking about 12-389,
All right,
but
12.
she's talking about pieces of it.
all right, okay.
Ben Schaefer, it says here donation of $1,000, and then under recreation accounts, there's an invoice for $1599.20. So I don't know, did he make a donation of $1,000 and we
No,
paid him?
we received we have a program of receiving donations for memorial benches. And, we did receive a donation this year for that, and I believe this is the purchase against that donation to install a bench.
So do we cover the $599? The people pay $1,000 and we pay?
I would have to consult with the Director of Recreation, but I believe that would be the case here.
Is that the case all the time, that the payment doesn't cover the whole cost?
No, in many cases, the payment does cover the donation. I'm not sure what happened in this instance.
I just had a couple of more resolutions. 12-376,
Okay,
and then 12-380.
Alan, 12376.
Mayor, this is a grant which we received from the state, drive sober or get pulled over. A session is a overtime assignment is made in the police department for various checkpoints. The overtime is put in. We're only allowed a limited amount on the overtime, and we charge the grant for some of that overtime. The rest gets charged to the driving while intoxicated grant. But in all instances, the amount that we applied for many months ago does not match what the actual field operation is. So we may have some grant money left over which cannot be carried over. It has to be canceled and go back into the state pot for future reallocation.
So does that mean we're giving money back?
Mm-hmm. 17.
Well, it means we're not going to collect this receivable from the state. We accomplished the objective of holding the checkpoint, but it didn't come up to what they had anticipated.
All right. All right, that's the explanation on that.
We're in 12-380.
Mayor, if I may, Resolution 12-380 is an amount of money that we received from the state of New Jersey to offset our costs to make vacancy inspections of departments. Now, it's $16, but the rules and regulations require that we process it in this manner and amend our budget for it. The money will flow to the grant fund where we will pay any bills for these inspections out of the grant fund.
So this grant came to us for $16?
Well, we receive payments throughout the year. So in the aggregate, it is, several hundred or several $1,000s, but they do make payments to us. Yes, this payment did come to us for $16.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Any other members of the council? All right, can I have a motion to adopt resolutions 12-372 up to and including 12-388?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? All right. Ed, you want to do 12-389, the payment of bills?
Yes, ma'am. Whereas vouchers for the payment of goods and services rendered to the Borough of River Edge have been received, and whereas each bill has been checked by the receiving department, approved by the Chief Financial Officer and Borough Clerk, and reviewed by the 3 members of the Finance Committee. Now therefore be it resolved that bills as listed now be confirmed for payment from the appropriate funds as follows. Current account, $7,214,660.31. Capital account, $2,143.81. Recreation account, $5,827.48. Self-insurance account, $1,395. Trust other account, $2,568.43. Open space account, $85.42. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstain? All right, very good. Before opening the hearing to the public, which I believe is next, before doing that, I see that our OEM coordinator and our fire chief are in the audience. I'd like to find out, do either of you guys want to make a presentation, give us a status of your department's work over the last week?
Just a brief overview.
Come up to get, you can come up separately, together, it doesn't matter to me.
All right. Just to give a quick recap of the fire department activity since last Monday. Approximately 5 o'clock last Monday before the storm, we started a standby. Standby was probably for 24 hours before we relieved our men. From last Monday when we started until 20 minutes ago or half hour ago, we accumulated 92 calls since last Monday. Fortunately, or unfortunately, however you want to see it, most of them were carbon monoxide. We have a serious problem with some generators in town, and fortunately, as the power comes on, those are beginning to subside. But as the power comes on, now we have the fire alarms. We did one boat call, which turned out to be unneeded. The vehicle was found to be empty. We also just got our engine back from South Jersey. We sent a pumper plus a 7-man crew to assist down at the Silverton Fire Department, which is just outside of Toms River. They basically were relieving that fire department from some of their activities over the past week or so, and they were going through and securing utilities and just checking the homes for any victims or survivors or whatever. They got back probably about 7 o'clock tonight, so that all went good. As of now, we're back up full strength. Both companies are operating again, as we did shut down Company 2 for 48 hours probably, and that worked very well. We tried something different this year. We, with the help of Assistant Chief Caridi, they sandbagged Company number 2, and virtually no water damage whatsoever down there. So unless any one of you folks has a question in particular, that's pretty much what took place.
Any injuries reported?
No injuries to firemen. We did take we didn't take them ourselves, but we had 4 civilians transported to area hospitals for carbon monoxide poisoning. Any
equipment lost?
We did have some problems with a CO meter, which was dropped into water, and we believe it may be non-functional. We're going to try and get that repaired, obviously, but that's the only piece of equipment that I know of that was lost. There may be other items that I'm not aware of.
Any particular communication problems between your department, ambulance, police, DPW?
That worked very well. Obviously, Tom, and I'm sure he'll fill us in, was OEM, which is in the same building as Company 1, which is where our operations were headquartered as well. So the communication was just virtually right there. I mean, you were talking face to face. Within our department, we had no problems. Between the police department, there were no issues. Central dispatch turned dispatch over to us, so we ran our own dispatch, which works very well when we have a situation like what we had where we're running calls almost back to back. The problems that we had was obvious. The problems that everybody had was with cell phones being down, the internet being down, that sort of stuff.
Right. Okay.
The carbon monoxide, the problems, people were putting generators in attached garages, was that the...
That's one of them, yeah, putting them in attached garages. They thought that would be okay. And it's like anything else. If there's an opening, it's going to find it, some of them were due to being outside a window, and then they run the wire in the window, and the carbon monoxide will get inside. And in most cases, we had readings that were like 100 parts per million in some homes, which is pretty high, yeah. So.
That would have lasted overnight in any of those homes, even at 25 to 30, because people would not have woken up in the morning.
Yeah.
So very dangerous, very dangerous. From a emergency management point of view, I thought this went extremely well. We had myself and Stu Heinzinger, who was the deputy coordinator. Either both of us or one of us was in the operations center the whole time, so it didn't close down at any point from when we started until the complete operation was over. The coordination between our police department, our DPW, and the fire department, and our ambulance corps was excellent. We had no issues. The communications was good. There were times when we had to go to 4 or 5 different places at the same time, and the department was able to send one rig here, one rig there. The same thing with the police, 1 and 1. And the ambulance was the one that sometimes in the middle, because they didn't know which place to go to if there was going to be a need for them right away. But the coordination was really, really good. We kept track of the calls, just as the chief said, and we will tabulate all of that and eventually put it in. We have to come up with a final document on that, because that becomes part of the record for the fire department for this year. And we'll get all of those documents to you so that you can see the actual details. We absolutely found that there were some communications issues, as the chief said. What we found is that we had a variety of different ways we thought we could reach the residents and keep them informed. We had Nixle. Now, not everybody's on that, but we were still okay with that, because we figured, well, the library has 1,600 homes on their emails, so we thought that would work, and that worked for a while, and then it didn't work for a while. And even the general communications between us broke down a little bit, but not real bad, but we just couldn't keep the internet. And when we couldn't keep the internet in the building there, and even on the phone sometimes, our communications to the residents fell apart. So we have found out since that there are some boost type devices that will give us a boost to the signal that we have, and that should eliminate the problems. Other departments have tried that.
Just real quick, driving down Kensington, I don't know if the siren was working or not, because there wasn't power there, but it looked like it got hit in the upper storm. The upper shroud has tipped off to the side, and we'll get a hold of Academy when the smoke clears. They're kind of crazy now. It is secure. It's not going to go anywhere. And it's not going to interfere with the operation of the siren. I was just wondering if it worked. Oh no, as far as I know, it's working. Okay. Yeah. Because I saw it looked like it. But it does need to be looked at. And the other, just you mentioned the communication, because I do know, when these go down, and even getting in touch with, I know you were on, I think you're on AT&T, the mayor's on AT&T. People who are on AT&T were a lot harder to get in touch with than people on Verizon. And I know your email went down, too, I think, over there as well. We talked about this last budget season, replacing the fire system with the God system, and I know you had
I have some information, yeah.
And maybe that is the way we need to go, so that you can actually, you can talk to people. You can talk to people through it. And maybe that's the way we do need to go, because, it seems like we had this storm this year, we had a storm last year. We're having these outages that last, unfortunately, a good a good amount of time, so maybe that is something we definitely need to look into and replace our system. And I think New Milford had some interest in working with us on that, so maybe it's not too bad of an idea.
I'll tell you the amount of coordination that I saw when the borough wasn't getting email. We got an important email from PSE&G requesting our trouble spots where trees with wires blocking roadways were affected. The email list only showed Denise's borough address, and of course she didn't get it because the borough's email was down. So Councilman Papaleo was able to get a copy of that email from Assemblywoman Wagner, and then he got it to me, and then I got the locations from John Lynch, and then I gave it to Alphonse because he had email in his home, and he was able to send it back to
Couple people at PSE&G.
whoever it was, Don, what was his name, Henley or Hindley or whoever the public relations guy at
PSE&G.
And then as soon as that was done, then we started seeing some PSE&G activity. But that's how we had to communicate.
The communications, as I said, was very strong all the way around. I want to thank the county also. Fuel was one of our biggest concerns. With having 6 fire engines on the road, all diesel, the DPW having probably 10 or 12 vehicles on the road that were diesel or gasoline, and whatever number of police cars is on every tour. You can imagine the amount of fuel that we were going through every 24 hours. And we started out with a fairly good amount. We had about 800 or 900 gallons of each in the tanks when we started, but it rapidly, was starting to get eaten up very quickly. Through Neil Carroll, he connected me with Manny. I don't even know Manny's last name. Talked to him 20 times in the county. We didn't get the last name part. But each day of the event, he had deliveries made to River Edge. It were never huge deliveries. It was 150 gallons of gas and 150 gallons of diesel fuel, but we were able to get what we needed to get through each day. So we had 4 days of delivery, and then one of our employees was able to make a connection for us with a diesel distributor, and we had a 1,000-gallon delivery made, which really took the burden off of worrying about the diesel fuel for the DPW trucks, which had so many miles that they had to travel around town to try to clear things. So of all the things that we had really difficulty with from operational, it was the fuel. So I don't know the answer to that. I mean, bigger tanks, then you just have a bigger tank that runs out, I guess. I'm not sure, but that was the key focus. There was probably 3 or 4 hours every day spent on working out the logistics to get fuel here, having people meet them early in the morning to get here, and so on and so forth. But we never reached a point where we couldn't get a vehicle on the road. So I wanted to just mention that the county and also the guys from DPW and everybody else that worked with that. Also, we just, was it yesterday, 2 days ago, they had an opportunity for anybody that needed more water, fresh water, blankets, meals ready to eat, and those kinds of things. And what we had to do was go over to Bergen Community College, and there was an operation going on there. I went over with the DPW truck. They loaded that truck up for me, and I came back here and distributed it to the people that needed it. So there was quite a bit of county coordination along with the local coordination. I think this was, and I did emergency management for 12 years once before, and this is my first year again now, and the coordination was better than I had ever experienced in the past. So, and that was at the county level, and it was at the local level. This was really, it's always bad to have a terrible situation, but this was a really good, well-run organization. River Edge should be really proud of all the employees that worked on this. It really went very well.
All right, any questions, anybody? On behalf of the council, I want to thank both you gentlemen for doing a great job. Great job. I just can't have anything else to say than it was just a It's great working alongside with you during this emergency and seeing us all come together as a community and get through it. Kathleen?
It'd be great if we could organize like a recap at some point to talk about where we can make improvements. And,
I have a list already, but it's only a small list in comparison to what we achieved.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
whenever you want to set
Yeah.
something up, we could get
You know,
together and...
work it out with Alan
you know.
to come before.
I'm going to say it at the end. I'm sure we're all going to say it at the end, thank you, but I want to say now while you're sitting here, both of you did a fantastic job. Stu did a great job. The other chiefs, fantastic. The amount of time the fire department, our volunteers gave was just extraordinary, and their families, your families, who put up with so much, who give so much, and we don't thank them. And I want to say this before you leave, because you may not be here when we have our council comments. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I have a motion to open the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the meeting's open to the public. For any member of the public who wants to ask a question or make a statement.
Jim Clappin, 445 Kennedy Mac Road. I think most of my questions were just answered, and I think mostly the communication problem. I know that you guys all tried to talk. I know you had webs down and no telephones, and we had the same thing. We got our power back about 4 hours ago, from 8:45 last Monday night. And we roughed it. My wife was very cold. But I come out on the street and I talked to a couple of policemen, I talked to a couple of firemen. I was a little upset. I heard, I have nothing for you. That was the statement, I have nothing for you. And you know what, they were busy, they were working. I called DPW. I got no answers. I went down to the yard. I called Waste Management. I did not put out the garbage last Monday night. We had a Tuesday pickup. I did not put it out because it was going to blow away. So I put it out Tuesday night, figuring they'd pick it up Wednesday. Stayed out there all week. I think Sunday I took it back in. They came this morning and picked up garbage. On a Monday, Tuesday's our day. No communication. Okay? And my question, I guess, is, you're having such a tough time with PSE&G reaching you, you know, and they can't, I'm assuming, from what I just heard, that you can't reach us, okay? And let the residents know what's going on. And you know what? I think that if I was going to run for mayor of River Ridge, I would get a bullhorn and drive down Kinnick Road and say, we talked to PSE&G today, and they are not going to have power for another week or 10 days, you know? We have no heat in the house, you know, it's cold. We tried 200 hotels, couldn't get a hotel anywhere. Last year, we were lucky we got a hotel, you know? I'm asking for communication some way or another. If you can't talk to DPW, you can't talk to firemen in the street, and you can't ask a cop, and I came here, there was a note on the door, not open until Thursday, I believe it was, you know? No communication with the residents. So, I heard you say something about New Milford and some means of communication. I don't know if that included communication with the residents.
Yeah.
We need to do something.
Are you registered for all this Nixle, reverse 911?
I don't know anything about it. No.
Yeah, because there were probably 20 different messages that went out. Reverse 911, Nixle, they did go out.
Our phone lines are down because I have cable vision, and so
The Nixle is... Nixle's not
dependent.
dependent on your phone line. The Nixle comes through your cell phone. You get a text. Do you have a cell phone?
Yes, I do.
Do you have internet service on it?
No, I don't believe so. No, it's just, you know. Yeah. So, anyhow, just, we got to try to find a way. We got 80-year-olds, 85-year-olds, you know. Another thing I want to mention, and I don't know how you guys are going to do it, maybe you can. River Edge kind of needs a citation. You got to do something for them. You got to make a plaque, you got to do something. They have been fabulous through this week. We've been up there from morning to night for the last 7 days. And getting the people in, and they had people standing outside waiting. They had empty tables. but they couldn't make the food fast enough in the kitchen, so they waited until they could do it, and they did a great job, so, just communication, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishes to ask a question, make a statement? Liz?
Yeah, Coach Shatry. I just wanted to thank you for voting yes on this. That was, I'm sure, a really hard vote tonight. It was a pretty brave vote, and it will be good for the town. And I just wanted to assure you, we have a tree planting coming up, which is not the best timing, but trees have been bought, it's all been set up before the storm. We've been dealing with these storm issues since 2008. So we've been picking trees since then that do not interfere with wires. We've been dealing with PSEG for over 10 years, how they prune. So we've been smart about it. So the trees we picked this year, we have 2 that grow to about 40 feet, and the larger wires are 40 feet. And then we have a smaller tree that's about 20 feet. So we just want to assure people, I know we're going to hear complaints. It's not, we wish we just pushed it off until the spring, but I'm going to try with the contractor. I think that would be the best thing to do because of what just happened. But I don't know if we're going to be able to financially. We've set the contract with them. And we've been analyzing trees differently when we go out, when we see like these 100-foot trees that were planted 20 years ago in a small space, like we would never plant like that. And we see the risk, and we look at the targets, and if it looks like that, we take it down. So I just want to assure you that we're doing those things. Maybe 5 years ago, we went with John Lynch, and we evaluated all of our pear trees because they were high risk at that point. And we took down about 3/4 of them. Just to prevent things. So we'll probably have to go and do this now with silver maples, oak trees, and really look at each tree individually and assess their condition and where they're at and what targets there are. And we might have some increased tree removal because of that, just to give you a heads up.
All right. Kathleen?
Do you have any ETA on our holiday tree? Because we're going to need it in there.
We're hoping, probably within the next 3 weeks. So we'll meet with you beforehand.
I'm worried about the root system on that kind of a tree because I have a blue spruce in my backyard and it's, I don't know, 12 feet high. Right over.
It's not the root system.
Right
All
over.
trees have the same root system. They go no more than 18 inches. Every tree. The oaks, the silver maples, and everything. It's the sail effect. It's the oaks that have their leaves on them. They make a sail. And it just pushes them over. So the pines that have needles, it's just catching wind and pushing them over. So that's, you can't avoid that. It's not really the roots as much as what is catching in the wind.
Okay.
So,
I would just hate to put up a holiday tree and have it blown over the first gust of wind.
We'll have to go out and shave it.
We'll take it.
But however quickly, we can get it in there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Liz. Anybody else? All right, how about council comments? Can we start? What?
Close.
Oh, can we close the hearing to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? All right, council comments. Start over here.
I'm going to try to be quick. There's a lot of people I want to thank. I'd like to, on the record, thank again John Lynch, the DPW workers, their heroic effort. The fact that they slept here at Borough Hall, that they deployed on a 24-hour basis for several days and then went to an extraordinary early morning, late evening deployment. They were phenomenal. The police, Chief Tom Caridi, the auxiliary police, again also deploying themselves 24 hours as they always do and making every effort. Volunteer ambulance, there were 6 transports, a minimum 6 transports. They were there, they were out during really bad weather. Phenomenal volunteers, their efforts they make. Our fire department, Chief Mouthy, Chief Caridi, Chief Holtz. Am I saying his last name right? Eric's last name? Schultz. Wonderful, and all the firefighters and their families giving on a regular basis. And, after the immediate crisis was over, the fire department was still called out time after time after time again. You guys, just unbelievable service, selflessness to the community, outstanding. Tom and Stu, Tom Smith, Stu Heisinger of OEM, God, the patience, the commitment. The Mayor, great work. You were tireless. You were everywhere. You and Kathleen were everywhere. And then in the midst of all this, organizing Halloween with the clergy of the town. It was a huge success. It was adorable. It was wonderful. It was a nice break to get out of the house for so many of the families. It was really wonderful. Utility workers, I want to say on the record, thanks to Missouri, to Florida, to, there were so many states. Alabama. Texas. Unbelievable. And every time I walked up and said, can you guys tell me how things go? They didn't get annoyed. They gave what they could. And since I only got my electricity back 4 hours ago, I'm thrilled. I'd like to also give high praise to Governor Christie and President Obama for their cooperation, working as a team for New Jersey. Assemblywoman Connie Wagner, Assemblyman Tim Eustace, Senator Bob Gordon. There was an email I received. I want to say this on the record, and hopefully people will share this. Senator Gordon sent an email informing, there was a lot of things in the email about claims and concerns, but Cablevision has a credit policy. If you lost your Cablevision, when you get it back, if you call them and tell them, I lost my power, I lost my cable at this time and got it back on this time, they will credit you. They're crediting me $30. I called just to see. So that's something to mention to the people of the town. I'm sure there's people I'm leaving out. Oh, I want to again say special thanks to Greg Critty and to the pumper crew who went down to Tom's River. I mean, again, volunteers went down for 24 hours to help out, and what we give them is our thanks, and they're grateful for that. So I want to say it loud and clear. Thank you. And there's probably others, you know, Council and Alan and Denise and everyone in Borough Hall. And I'm probably leaving a dozen people out, but I think we can never say thank you enough.
Alphonse.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to echo a lot of what's already been said. Our police, our fire, our DPW work tirelessly. They are an asset to the community. They make up the community, and I just want to thank them for all their work, their hard work. It is a community of volunteers. We know that. But when a crisis like this, you really get to see just how wonderful the people of this community are and our volunteers. So I do want to thank everybody for their efforts. You know, while we talk about what happened here, let's not forget what happened to you know, people in Moonachie and Little Ferry, and to the shore communities, people out in Staten Island who have truly been hit, you know, by the storm. My thoughts and my prayers go out to them. If anyone hasn't, you know, make a donation. It's the simplest thing in the world. I think if you text Red Cross to 90999, you can make a $10 donation. Simplest thing you can do to try and help people who've really been hardest hit. So in a lot of ways, we were, you know, very lucky here in River Edge. The rains didn't come like they were predicted. If they had, it would have been significantly worse. So we should all be grateful about that as well. Tomorrow's Election Day, so everyone exercise your right to vote. Good luck to everyone who's running tomorrow. Just going back though to communications, as you brought up, it's true we live in a, you know, a cellular world, but for a lot of us, we're not, you know, a lot of people just aren't tech savvy. They don't operate on smartphones. They don't get text messages or emails. And when you can't power these things, well, they don't work very well at all. They're bricks. And even home phones now, even if you do have the phone, a lot of people, if they have Vios, after 24 hours that battery goes dead, and you don't have a hard line either. So we do need to reach out a little bit more. That's why I talked about that God system that does allow you to broadcast messages. So it is the effect of a bullhorn going around, but it doesn't take up that manpower to do that. So I think that is something very much we need to look into and explore. I know it's costly, but I think it's something worthwhile. Similarly, obviously we've had a lot of debate on this issue up on the council, but regardless of how you come down on it, whether it's one building or another, I think ultimately we do need to have a community center where if there is a crisis, if there is a time of need, people know where they can go. That a building that's open, that's functioning, it has power, and it can house people long term. So regardless of where that building is or what it is, I think we have an obligation to start providing that to our residents so they know in an emergency where they can go. Similarly, budget-wise, going into the next budget, we really have to invest in our ability to communicate with one another. That was an issue that, I've noticed, just an inability to communicate. So that's something I think we need to invest in as well. But that's it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Mignon.
Just want to echo what Councilman Papaleo and Councilman Bartoloni said. We always, as these kinds of situations show us, we have a debt of gratitude to our dedicated borough employees and the selfless volunteers. And we always see in the crisis what a great community River Edge is. Watching just up and down the streets, neighbors helping neighbors, inviting people into their homes as people got power back at different times. It's really heartwarming to see, and I was a recipient of some of that kindness, and we were able to share it also, so it was a great thing to see. I also want to thank the residents for their patience and understanding with the pace of things, and I do share your concern and your frustration with the communication issue, and that is something we need to address. We saw it last year with Irene, we saw it with the snowstorm, and now, but like Tom Smith explained, we're using all the tools available, but maybe we have to look outside the box and come up with some other ways to get the word out to the residents, because it is frustrating. Sometimes even hearing that we don't know what to tell you, at least it's comforting to the people to hear that. So I hear you, and that's something I think we need to work on. Lastly, on a separate note, I want to just wish Anita Gatto well. She's leaving as our Planning and Zoning Board Secretary. And prior to my tenure on the council, I was on the planning board, so Anita was one of the first borough employees that I had dealt with extensively. And she was, fountain of knowledge, always professional and courteous, and the borough's going to miss her, and I wish her well in her future endeavors. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Anthony.
Councilman Tom Allen, Ed stole my thunder. But yep, the fire, DPW, police, ambulance, amazing. I mean, I saw them at work too. I felt safe, refreshed that we were in good hands. So, and it was humbling because you're not in control, and to see these professionals out there risking their lives was inspiring to me. And Mayor, also thank you for organizing that Halloween event or getting it rolling, because I think that meant a lot to the families and kids. And I think Councilman Tom had pointed out it was a nice break and a much needed break and a big relief for a lot of families. I know I was there, and it meant a lot to a lot of people. And our neighbors, just people helped me, I helped them, and it brought out the best in a lot of people. So thank you to everyone.
Kathleen.
I'm going to say something entirely different. I would like to thank all the fire department, DPW, police department, and ambulance. That was just a little joke, sorry. Also, thank you to Mayor Masbertolo for all he did to stay on top of PSE&G. There was Patrick that he hooked up with that liked his cigs and coffee, and the mayor stayed with him until he completed a lot of the repairs. So I'd like to thank you for that. Please, everybody, vote 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. tomorrow. And SCORE will be celebrating their 40th anniversary, November 19th at noon. And I'd also like to thank those who helped organize our Borough Trick-or-Treat celebration at Cherry Hill School. A special thanks to Recreation Director Bobby Conway for getting it pulled together with less than 12 hours. Residents Val Duran and her catechists team, Kathy DiSavino, and special events member Maxine Rumsby, and to all the residents who came with their own candy. And I would like to I compliment Councilman Bartoloni for having such a great costume.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know
yeah.
exactly what it was, a
Yeah.
tattered suit costume.
Zombie.
A guy that was, taken by the stock market, I don't know.
How don't you watch The Walking Dead?
Yeah.
Is that HBO?
Best show
No,
on TV.
it's
Best
a
show
great
on
show.
TV.
It's,
Yeah,
it was AMC.
You walked up to me, I didn't even know it was you. I was like,
I was a walker.
So, your costume got a lot of accolades. You were one of the few adults in a costume, so thank you. And thank you.
Try and hide.
Thank you to our residents for their patience and having everything come back to normal. I just got my service back a few hours ago as well. So, we're all in the same boat, so thank you. Thank you, you guys back there. That's it.
All right, there are just too many people to thank individually. It wasn't just that everybody did their job, it was that everybody went above and beyond their job descriptions. I really want to thank the public for having so much patience during this really, really devastating hurricane that we had, although I hated the name of it. It was
oh, yeah.
terrible hurricane.
Yeah.
Never repeat those words, that name in my presence.
Well, the good thing is after they use the name, I think they retire it.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I want to thank couples like this who stuck it out and didn't abandon ship. I want to mention some of the, I can't really even use the term random acts of kindness because they were more organized than random. There was a gentleman who just showed up in the middle of the storm at Company 1 and started helping to cook and serving meals.
Greg Horn,
who just decided to show up out of the blue. There was a gentleman at the Halloween event that we had at the field who came up to me and said, Mayor, my power went on. I don't need my generator anymore. If you know of a family that needs a generator, let me know, and it's all filled up. It has gas in it. I'll bring it over to their house and hook it up. And I knew a family that needed it, and it went like that. And there were just these acts of kindness all along the way. Patrick, the troubleshooter linesman from PSE&G, who only needed a pack of cigarettes and a cup of coffee to keep him going, and gave me his personal cell phone number and would tell me, okay, the lines, I deactivated the lines on antenna, you can tell them to cut the tree. And then a few minutes later he said, okay, Monroe and Bogart is ready to go, they can cut the tree. Guys like that, random acts of kindness. It was just remarkable to be in, over the course of 72 hours, to be in a police car, to be in the fire chief's car, to be in a DPW vehicle, and to just go around and see everybody again going above and beyond their job description. I just want to, very proud to be the mayor of this town. And everybody go out and vote tomorrow, and get ready for the next storm. Go and buy your batteries now, and get ready for the next one that's coming. It's not, believe me, after what we went through, it's going to be a piece of cake. And with that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to ask the council and the public to vacate the building. The police department has informed me that they're going to switch the building over from generators.
I thought you were going to say something.